probably 21 degrees outside. So it's one of those days where you're stuck inside. I picked up a machine that I've had in my garage for many years. And I've actually always wanted one of these in my younger years and obtained not one, but two of them. So it's been nearly 3 years since I've actually ridden this machine. And well, I brought it up to my place up north because I'm gonna go through everything, give it a little tune up. And with there being fresh snow on the ground, I figured let's go take it for a spin after I go through everything. So you're wondering what this machine is? It is this guy. Now you're probably wondering, what the heck is this? Some of you might recognize it, some of you might not. And that's totally fine because they're actually kind of rare these days. But it's known as a Chrysler Sno Runner. And the best way to describe this machine is if you took a snowmobile and a moped and they made a baby. That would be a Chrysler Sno Runner. It's 135 cc's. It's essentially a chainsaw engine with a snowmobile track and a front ski. This is your fuel tank. It's got a headlight, throttle, and an actual braking system via the snow track. And what I mean by snow track is it's literally a miniature snow track underneath. And that is what drives you forward. This bites into the actual snow. And surprisingly, they have quite a bit of traction. Now, like I said, it has been 3 years since I've even fired this up. And I have not one, but two of them. I had the intentions of, I guess, riding through the deep snow of the mountains of Colorado with these, which is kind of an ambitious expectation with these. They're not really a deep snow type of vehicle. They're more of a hard packed snow, ride around at 25 miles an hour type of vehicle. So these are not the capabilities of what you get from like a modern day timber sled, but you also have to keep in mind this was produced from 1979 to 1981, very short production year, I guess, lineage, and it was made by Chrysler. So essentially what prompted me into getting this dusted off and out of my garage and up on this workbench is I came across one of these for sale on Bring a Trailer last night. I was at my parents' house. And I bought this, like I said, about 6 years ago for 500 bucks. And this one on Bring a Trailer just fetched $5,400. And it rode, but it was literally this exact year. And my jaw about hit the floor after I saw that price. I am not planning on selling this. I never plan on selling any of these. I'm not gonna sell, not the other one, not this one. I'm keeping them in my collection. But it sparked my interest because I'm like, wow, nobody wanted these for the last decade. You could see them, they pop up on Craigslist occasionally. I don't know the exact production numbers of these, but there's not a lot of them left. And so it kind of prompted me like, you know what? I got fresh snow on the ground. These ran when they were put away, so I should get these back out, give them a tune-up, and go ride them. Because it seems like the interest of these has increased dramatically as far as the unique machines world per se. And so that's what we're doing today. We're essentially going to get this going again. It's not going to really need much, but I'm going to go through the necessary things. And the amazing fact about this is actually hilarious, is the owner's manual on these is it's online. I'm not kidding. Everything you need to do to your Sno Runner is online. That's adjusting the carburetor, setting the track, everything. Now, what was really unique about these, and I'll do a more in-depth video about the Sno Runner. In fact, I'm gonna get both of them out and we'll do a little trail riding. My girlfriend could ride the other one. But the main purpose of this design was actually for the military back in the 60s. This folds up. It actually completely disassembles and goes into what you'd fit in a normal suitcase. It's pretty amazing. And so a company designed this for the military to use in inaccessible areas, and they wanted reliability, something that could be compact and it could be utilized by soldiers. Well, that idea never actually caught on with the military, so they approached the civilian market, and like I said, they sold them from 1979 to about 81. There are two versions, and I actually have both variants. There's a slower version that's 135 cc's, basic gear drive ratio and whatnot. I don't know what the exact ratio is, but there's that version. It's the slower one, I would say. And then there's a high performance version. It's like the Canadian high altitude version, and I have that one as well. It's got a different drive ratio. It's considerably faster than this one. This one is the slower one. And so I'll do a video on that one as well. But today's point is I'm gonna get this running. Maybe we'll go take it for a spin if I'm lucky enough to get it to fire up. It'll fire up. It was put away running, but I'm gonna go through everything. First thing I'm gonna do is lubricate and re-tension the pull start. Make sure all that, sometimes these get slack and they don't want to retract. I'm gonna adjust the carburetor, clean it out. I'm gonna make sure everything is good with these fuel lines, as well as lastly, I'm gonna flip it around. You adjust the track tension via this bolt, as well as it's a centrifugal clutch. This isn't a manual, it's a single speed centrifugal clutch. It's essentially a chainsaw engine, 2-stroke, 135 cc with a Tilston carburetor, and they stuck it on a moped with a snowmobile track. So our goal today is to get this running, and maybe we'll go take it for a spin. I have a pretty exquisitely nice field that has not been touched by humans yet, and we'll go take it for a spin with this is the plan. So stay tuned. So if you're ever wondering what the pull start on these, it's very simple. This expands outward and grabs onto the flywheel itself, I should say the pulley system that engages the engine. These will sometimes get real slack and they don't want to retract all the way, so my goal is we're gonna clean it all out and adjust it so it retracts smoother. That was a big hiccup with this before it was put away. These are air cooled. Here's the fan drive right here. Spark plug back here, decompression valve back here. Yes, that is a tail light / brake light, and it does have a headlight, and that works as well. These are pre-mixed. There's no oil injection system or any of that. And like I said, the whole frame is the fuel tank on these. So this fills up 2 gallons. 2.5, I think is 2.5 is the capacity on these. I could be wrong. It's been years, and then it feeds into this line system into the carburetor. It's a diaphragm right here, and it pulsates. But we'll clean it all out, adjust everything, and get her to fire up. And here's compression is good. So that's a good sign. Now that we got the pull start off, these will commonly, I'd say the biggest issue that I experienced with the Sno Runner being in the middle of nowhere is the pull start kind of binding up, not retracting really smooth. So that's one of the main points of maintenance I'm doing today, is to ensure that it's a smooth operation on the pull start. And I'll show you kind of a crazy design, but it's also kind of cool. So here's the pull start housing right here. And it's dirty, so I'd recommend, if you have one of these, clean it out. And here's the spring retain. There's a coil that is wrapped up right here on both sides. And it's tight, and when you pull start it, it retracts it. That's what essentially retracts it back in the housing, the rope itself. So you want to just kind of clean, make sure there's no debris on any of these, because this needs to be rotated. Not a lot of resistance on this. Some people, you'll hear a million things of people saying use motor oil, gear oil. I've had good luck with silicone lubricant. Some people might say that's terrible, don't use that. If it works for you, just use it. That's all I can say. Here's the coil setup itself. What I mean by a very unique design is this just gets wrapped up real tight, and that's what retracts the rope. And this is your pull start. So I'm going to clean all that up and then make sure it's a smooth operation, and then put it back on, and we'll start with that. And then next we're going to tackle the carburetor. All right, so we got the pull start on, got the adjustment points on the pull starter itself. If I was to take note, you will see these guys right here on your pull starter, and you're going to want to make sure that the tension is set right on those so they bite into the inside of the, I don't know, let's say the motor cup, but these are crucial. If they're not adjusted right, then you're just going to be pull starting and not actually engaging the engine. So just that. Next, we took the, this is the snow guard right here. We took that off. And so you can see we have our track right here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to lube the entire chain and driveline system, because if there's any bit of these binding up in this driveline, it'll lose power. Like, you want to maximize power delivery to the tracks the best you can. And number two is it will decrease the longevity of your snow track and chain drastically. So we're going to lube that up, get everything free, just that, so make sure it's free rolling just fine. And then there's also a tension on your back area right here. And what this does is this pushes this way and brings your tension up. So the farther this pushes, the tighter it gets. Taking a chain tension on these, you don't want it super loose because it'll just come off the cog, but you don't want it also too tight because it puts strain on a lot of the cog wheels. So I always say if it's two fingers, or a great example is you take your hand, depending on the size of your hand, and you like this, that's pretty good chain tension. Not too much, not too loose either. All right, next, this is where your driveline is and your centrifugal clutch. You want to inspect this and make sure and lubricate the chain that's under here as well. So you're going to take these two nuts off right here, and then just kind of work the cover off. Oh, it should come off pretty easily. And here is your clutch system and your main chain drive. Let me get a better light here. There you go. And I mean, it looks relatively good. You want to just double check nothing's out of the norm, and you want to lubricate this chain, but you want to make sure you do not get any lubricant on this centrifugal clutch right here, because it'll take a while for the lubrication to burn off and you will be stuck. Okay, so one of the biggest, I would say, and most crucial aspects about these old two-strokes, and being that the year they are, is dirty fuel. And what I mean by dirty fuel is this is the fuel tank, this whole frame, but it's with any vintage car, motorcycle, car, any of that. Stuff breaks down. People are seldomly spot on with winterizing a vehicle properly, and well, moisture sits in the tank and rust deposits happen, and well, that debris has to go somewhere. And it always goes in the fuel lines. And if there's one thing, if you have a Sno Runner, it's not running that great, do your fuel filters. And there's not just one, there's two in this vehicle, but you can see that that is all tank sediment and dirt. That normally runs in the carburetor, and then people wonder why the carburetor plugs up. So there's two of these actually. You have a quick disconnect on all standard, on all of these Sno Runners, and it was made so you could essentially disconnect everything quickly and fold it up for ease of use, I guess. Well, this is at an angle, So that means that a lot of fuel hangs down here, and so it has to have a fuel line that goes all the way at the end. So I put new line in here plus a new fuel filter, so I have 2 fuel filters. Double the redundancy and less of a reason for the main carburetor to get plugged up with debris. So that's what we're doing right now. We're putting new fuel filters in, and then we're gonna do a test run and see how she runs. Once again, this hasn't ran in 3+ years, so I don't have a lot of expectations. It might fire, it might need me to go through the diaphragms and the gaskets on the carburetor. So we'll just have to wait and see.